Okay, so we are live. So, apply skills, you are on page, Michaela, what do you got for me here? 82? Okay, so everyone in your workbook, we should be on page 82. Now, the directions say, activity 1 here, we're going to solve the problem using traditional or expanded subtraction. You have your choice. If I had to guess, every single one of you will do traditional. Yeah, because nobody likes expanded, right? And then we're going to use estimation and a calculator to check our answers. So the first thing, you need to come up with an exact answer. Then we are going to do an estimation. Now estimation requires you to do what to your number? Okay, it's a round, because remember we said estimate was a good guess. So we're going to round those values. And then we are going to use a calculator to check. Now, that's a good question, Christian. Are we going to round to the nearest tenth, or to the nearest hundred, or the nearest thousandth?
To the nearest 25.
Or to the nearest quarter. We've done that too. What are we going to do? 100. Why? Angel, or Christian, you're right.
It's the most place value.
Because these both go out to the hundreds place, and if you look here, they've already rounded 143 to 100 for you. So yes, we are rounding to the hundreds. You are doing the same thing on all three of them. When you are finished, find a partner to check with. Okay, if you have questions or are having a tough time getting started, let me know. We'll come around and get you going.
And then we just put that into it, or does it calculate?
Just this. Right there. So which one? This one. Calculator check. So guys, calculator check, all it is asking you to do is we're going to punch this in exactly like it reads. We're going to say 302 minus 143.
So basically your exact answer.
So it's your exact answer, assuming that you did it right. So we're using the calculator to check.
I know I did.
You know you did it right.
Yeah.
You don't make mistakes, Angel, right?
Nope. Just something correct.
Yep. So that's what you need to do. Okay.
You learn from the mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes, absolutely. So again, you guys can use either traditional or expanded. It makes no difference. Don't let these bars over here confuse you. You can do it either way.
Hey, do you know how far away Du Bois is? Like 6 hours, 7 hours?
I don't. Let's get these done before we start talking about them. What are we doing? Okay, so yeah, do traditional. Absolutely. I would do traditional, just like we were doing in the warm-ups here. Tiffany, or in the concept building. When you are done, you got to find someone else who is done and check your answers. Make sure that you have everything the same.
How do they get this estimation on?
I'll be right with you there, ladies.
Oh, so then it'd be 8. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So they've just rounded one of the values for you already. Okay, so you rounded 300 minus 100 is fine. Perfect. For the calculator check, all you got to do is type this into your calculator. So 302 minus 143. So we're just making sure that we didn't screw up here.
Mission almost done yet.
What?
Almost done yet.
Okay, then sit and be quiet so someone else can finish.
I know that's what I'm waiting on.
The one in the middle? Exactly, yep. So you're going to make the one out front becomes a 2.
Angel, I'm done.
And now, the whole reason I had to borrow is because you can't take 2 minus 3. So I'm going to have to now borrow from that one, now that we have it as a 10 instead of a 0. So now can you take this? So now what is this place, or what does this 2 become? Very good. Yep, and now you just have to subtract 2.
Oh, you know what? Oh, it's...
Yeah, I think you just forgot to change that one in that clip. Okay, when you are finished, if you finish, turn in your books.
Which one? Both?
Hardcover.
Just the hardcover?
To page 121, yep. in your textbook, page 121, and I would like you to silently read that if you finish. Okay, page 121, read. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we'll turn you loose on the problem solving. Estimations, now we're just estimating. We're saying they're around 143 to 100. What are you around 300 to? Or 302 to? Yep, so it's 300 minus 100 is 200. Now is that a true statement? Is 300 minus 100 200?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so you're good there. Now you're going to do the exact same thing here. So the estimation, notice that they're on the 6,233 to 6,000. So you got it on this one. What are you going to on that to? Good. Chris, how are we doing? Making some progress. Christian, I'm doing all right. Get that read, Angel?
What?
Did you get it read? Pretty quick reader if you read that all already. Read it. Really, really.
I would like to read to one.
Well, this is one of those times when you have to.
I just read in English class, honestly. Well, we're all history. The rest of the class, I only
Angel, read. So we're going to talk about word problems. I promise you, in the future, you will have to read in math. Don't you have to read directions on every problem you do? Every single problem you do, don't you have to read directions? So don't tell me you don't read math. You read math every day.
Sometimes I just get to English. Like the other day when it's like estimated, like I did it wrong, but I did it after the class.
Oh, sorry.
So do you write the answer out somewhere? For this?
You can if you want. We're not going to explicitly talk about that example. We're just going to kind of talk about budgets in general. Okay? Okay, it looks like most of us are finished up or else on the last problem. So what I do want to talk about is your answers for skills maintenance here. Or excuse me, not skills maintenance, apply skills. So, looking at the first one, if you subtracted that, whether you're using traditional or expanded, you should have come up with 159. For your estimated value, you should have come up with 300. Okay, so we were rounding, what does that say, 302? 302 to 300, that's really blurry. Okay, so we rounded that to 300, and then we used our calculator, and you should have gotten 159. Now, what would have happened if you typed that into your calculator and you would have got something like 161? But your answer was 159. What does that clue you into?
That was incorrect.
That it was incorrect, that you made a mistake, right? Or else you typed it into your calculator wrong. So you have to go back and check, and that's the whole idea behind this calculator check. Okay, or any other method, whether we were checking by rounding and using estimation. Okay, so something good to keep in mind, because a lot of us were finishing our quizzes really early. Always a good idea to go back and check. Okay, second one, answer was 1,768. You should have gotten that with your calculator. We rounded 8,001 to 8,000. And on the last one, your answer was 4,959, and our estimation should have gave us 6,000. Any questions in regards to your apply skills? Okay, so if you are not already on page 121, get there in your hardcover book. Okay, so in the textbook, page 121. We're going to talk about, what are we talking about today in problem solving? A budget. I gotta turn this on. So my first question to you is, what the heck is a budget?
something that you can't, like, that's your budget, like, you can't overspend. Like, that's the amount that's given to you,
Okay?
and you don't have more. So don't try to, like, buy stuff that you don't have enough money for. You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
really good explanation, Angel. Okay? So, what is a budget, Angel? Kind of got to there. A budget is some amount of money that we're going to set aside. Okay, so something would be like, I have a budget for groceries every month.
For clothes.
Okay, so for clothes, so for me, I have a budget of groceries and I don't spend over $200 every month on groceries. Okay, I try and keep it under that. That is my budget. Okay, now what does it mean to be over budget?
It is like 110 or something.
More than you.
Okay, so give me an example. Give me an example in my case. If I've got a $200 budget on groceries, what would cause me to be over budget? Tiff?
You would be spending over like $300 worth of groceries.
Okay, so
Some
over
people do that.
over not 300. In my example, my budget was 200, right? So
like
Even a dollar more.
240.
Even a dollar.
over, yes, if I spent $240, maybe it's around Thanksgiving and I'm putting Thanksgiving on in my house.
Even a
So I gotta buy a turkey and I gotta buy all this stuff. That would be over budget if I spent $240 on it.
If it's a couple bucks, you're still over budget. It doesn't matter how.
Oh, exactly. If I spent $201, I'm still over my budget. You're absolutely right. So is it a good thing to be over budget?
No.
No.
Okay.
Because you don't have money.
Where is an example, other than me talking groceries and him, Angel clothes, what's an example of something or somewhere that you have seen a budget?
A car, buy a car.
Okay, so you might budget some money for a car. Very good. Anyone else got an example? I had one pop into my head today that kind of stuck out.
What are we talking about?
Budgets.
Budgets.
Like
Glad
colleges.
you're alert here.
What was
Say that
it?
again, Claire?
Like going to college.
Going to college, so you budget so much for going to college? Yes, that could be a very good one. Exactly.
Savings. Oh, it's-
Savings.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're budgeting how much each month you're going to put in there.
So what were you gonna say? That you had a good one?
The big one that I came up with was, have you guys ever heard of a movie being over budget? You're making some awesome action-packed film with explosions all over the place with an all-star cast.
Like Fast and
You
Furious.
know what I think's over budget?
Something like Fast and Furious 7. Okay? They set aside, they say, okay, we're going to go out and get funding for this, and maybe their budget was $500 million.
Probably.
Well, something's going to go wrong, and then they're going to have to spend more money. They're going to maybe be over budget. Maybe Vin Diesel wants an extra $5 million for the film.
Like Mike Tyson, Mr. Now he's like he's broke.
Yes. That's different. That's bankruptcy. We're not going to get into that, but you're right.
He's actually broke.
Okay, so what I want to talk about,
He's broke.
okay, let's bring it back full circle here. On page 121, they talk about in that table the scatter plots budget. Now, how much did they budget for their motorhome?
900.
Okay, they budgeted $900, and then look at the motorhome costs. They said that, well, 1 week rental fee was $645. The one-way drop-off charge was $230, and they had to pay $35 in tax, and then they totaled it up for you there. What was the total bill for the motorhome?
910.
$910. So are they over or under budget?
Over.
They are over budget by $10. Okay, we do not ever want to be over budget. Okay, as that last sentence says, it is always better to be under budget because it means there's money left over. Right? If I've got my $200 grocery budget, and I only spend $150, that's 50 extra bucks I have to blow on something else, right? Or save.
For next time you go.
Next time, so the next time I can buy $250 of groceries. Okay, so what I want everyone to do is turn in your softcover book. Page 83 is what we're on. 83. Most of us are already there. Page 83 is our problem-solving activity today. Goes kind of hand in hand with understanding budgets. Let me put this up here so we've got something to reference.
Is this like Mexico or something?
From Texas.
What state is that? It's not Mexico.
It's
It's
Texas.
No, it's
Yeah,
Texas.
It's Texas.
There's like
I
El
can
Paso
see
and
that
then
because
there's like
it's like the shape of Texas.
Texas.
so I mean everything below here in white would be Mexico there.
Oh.
But the outline there is Texas, yes. Okay, so our directions say, look at the map that shows the scatter plot's route across Texas, and the table that shows the driving distances between cities. We need to use the map and table to answer the questions below. Show all of your work. Okay, so taking a look at the first one. First question says, did the scatter plots drive more or less than 1,000 miles from Houston to El Paso? And use a calculator to find your answer here. So,
More.
let's just think about this for a second. I want to know from Houston to El Paso. Guys, I said let's think about this for a second, which means don't shout something out. Okay, from Houston to El Paso. Now, if we look at our table, I've got Houston to San Antonio to Austin, Austin to Dallas, Dallas to El Paso. Anywhere in that table, do you see Houston to El Paso? No, right? It doesn't say Houston to El Paso. But do we see that if we look at our map here, they're going from Houston to San Antonio, and then they went from San Antonio to Austin, and Austin to Dallas, and Dallas to El Paso. So, do you agree, or if I was talking about my drive from Houston to El Paso, what would I want to do with all of these shorter trips and distances? I want to add them all up. So, everybody do that on your calculator. Show me what you get for an answer. I want to see everyone type it in. That's not the one. So type it in, show me that you can get that, or, Chris, you're doing it by hand? Overachiever today, I like it. Good, Claire. Tiffany's still working on it. Krishna, did you get that typed in? Nice. Darn, you got that typed in, working on it. Good. Good. What'd you get to? Awesome. So, let's see how we're doing this. Okay, so I've seen everyone came up with the same answer of 995. Is that your answer?
Yep.
Okay, so have you answered the question?
Yeah. 1,000 miles from Houston.
Okay, so Angel's bringing up a really good point here. 995 is there, but the question is asking us. Remember, we're talking about have we answered the question? Did the scatter plots drive more or less than 1,000 miles?
But are we supposed to round it to 1,000?
No.
Nope. I mean, if we were talking rounding, yes. But here we want to know exactly how far they drove. So we're talking 995 miles, and that is less than 1,000 miles. So we would say they drove less than 1,000 miles
To Houston.
from Houston to El Paso.
Alright.
Okay, I'm going to let you guys go on the next one. I'm not going to explain anything there. See what you can come up with. If you have questions, raise your hand when you are finished. I'll come around with homeworks. So it says explain how you know using quarter rounding. So you found the exact one, but if we use rounding here, that good old reading, right? It comes in handy. Everyone loves it. So did you read your directions on this one? You read it. Awesome.
To the quarter, make sure, come on.
To the nearest quarter, you got it.
Come on, mister. I know this.
So it's saying on the part of the trip. Okay, so we want to use quarter rounding. Just wait a second. Okay, I want to use quarter rounding. So remember, we're talking about rounding the values that you can give me in quarters. So we're going to take these two numbers. So we're driving from Austin to El Paso. So Austin to Dallas and then Dallas to El Paso. So do you agree that the total distance would be from Austin, what was Austin? Austin to Dallas, and then we would add from Dallas to El Paso.
Yeah,
If we add those two together, that would give you the exact distance. They're asking, how do we know using quarter rounding? I want to round these two to the nearest quarter. That, we're gonna round a quarter and then we're gonna add.
When we're done, we put our books away.
When you're done, I want to see it, and then I'll give you the homework.
Alright. Who's that guy?
There we go. Looks good.
Nobody knows that shit. Nobody knows that shit.
Excellent. I gotta look at yours here first, Chris. Nice. Okay, but I want you to explain to me the quarter rounding. So I want to see some work that you rounded to the nearest quarter, and then you were able to say that yes or no. I'll be right with you there, Haley.
Yeah.
Okay, how'd you come up with no? How'd you get no? Okay, but what they want is by quarter rounding. So you found it using exact, but we want to practice quarter rounding. So I want to see, what would you round 176 to the nearest quarter?
He was a beast when you were
176 to the nearest quarter would be
yeah. But when you started making too much
100.
money.
Which one is closer? Okay, and the same thing with 569, what are you going to round that one to?
575.
So write those two down and add them together, and then I want to see. So what I'm looking at is from Austin to El Paso. So I'm thinking Austin to Dallas is this number. And this is Dallas to El Paso. What we need to do is round this to the nearest quarter. So I'm thinking 176 is closest to what quarter value? So if we think about this is...
Got it.
What do we come up with?
150.
Okay, grab, I set them right there on that third row. Go ahead and grab one. So, Haley, this is where we're talking like 0 to 25, 50, 75, 100. Now, ours go a little higher than that, because we're talking 176, right? So, the nearest quarter above that would be what? So you'd go 176, the next quarter would be what? Not 100, but 200, right? Okay, so I'm saying this is 200. 176, the one below it would be, so we're thinking quarter value, something that ends in 25, 50, 75. What's a quarter value that's just below 176? Okay, so if we think about this, I'd go from 100 to 125. Then I would go 150. And then what comes after that? So 125, 150, and 1. Okay, is 175 smaller than 176?
Yes.
Okay, so 176 is trapped between these two. Which ones are closer? So how far away is 176 closer to 175 or 200?
What a best one.
What's that?
You don't want
150, what 175?
You don't want a flash right now?
Okay, now we need to round this next one. We need to round 5 and 6 next. So I'm going to write 176, which round to 175. That's right there.
Wait,
And then 5, 6 doesn't get you around that too.
I've been constant.
Good.
you just let you
Get it
kids.
down.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about over there, Angel?
Oh, no. I was asking,
Oh,
I don't know your name, what's your name?
Wilson.
you can just call him Mister. You already call me Mister.
I already got one.
Wilson?
You already got one?
Yeah.
Krishna, what's up? You getting it? So 175 and 575, beautiful. So now what I want to think of is with 500, let's write down all the quarter values. So we're going to start with 500. Now if you're adding another quarter to that, or another 25, what comes next? So 569 closest vehicles, 5. Perfect, so that's what we're gonna round to. So 569 goes to 575. So we're right rounded to 575.